My name is Tim Wray. I was born in Los Gatos, California, and I was raised in the Bay Area, and I lived in southern Germany as a child. You know, I was always interested in music, but I never really put it together to play music until I was maybe 13 or 14. And I started playing blues harmonica after I saw John Lee Hooker in the Blues Brothers movie. It spun my head, just absolutely lit me up. So I played blues harmonica for a few years, and then I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan play at the Santa Cruz Civic Auditorium, and it changed my life. It was really interesting. I saw him the one year, and I was sitting on the edge of the stage. It's a pretty small auditorium, and Stevie picked up on the fact that I was, you know, pancake eyeball watching him. So he, the whole night, he just played to me. He was playing to my face, and I could tell he would just pick me out. I was just this little kid, you know, and he was just like, oh, I'm gonna blow this kid's mind, and he did. And then the next time I saw him the year later at the Santa Cruz Civic Auditorium again, and I'm standing watching the opening act, who was a classical guitar player who happened to be his road, or his guitar tech. Rene Martinez was his name, but I knew nothing about it at the time. He went on to be real famous. He's now like John Mayer's guitar tech, all these guys. So, but I had no idea who he was. So I'm sitting there waiting for Stevie to come out. I'm kind of on the side of the stage, and I look over next to me, and there's Stevie Ray standing there. And I go to talk to him, and he shushes me. He's like, check this out. And so every time I'd kind of look at me, he'd kind of nudge me, and he loved this guy's playing. And so we sat there and watched this classical guitar player do his opening set. And I just kept, you know, looking at him. He's like, check this out. He wanted to make sure that I got it, and I did. I was just like, all right. It made me realize how the appreciation could be all around the board. I thought that was just amazing that he was so touched by this other guy. And then it was kind of funny because I had some seashells in my pocket, being a little hippie kid that I was, and I gave them to him, and he had a pouch around that was hanging off of his belt, and he put the seashells in his pouch, and then I still have the record. He came out with the Soul to Soul record a couple years later, and the pouch is hanging off of his thing. And I thought those seashells have still got to be in there unless he took them out. But he was psyched. The looks he gave me and his eyes, he was so smiling. It was just such an amazing, gentle soul, and I just loved him. And it changed my life. I mean, literally, the first time I saw him, I think I went out the next day and was like, I have to get a guitar. And I think I went out and got a job as a busboy just so I could go buy my first electric guitar, because that just lit me up. And I remember my dad saying a few years later, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I felt so silly, but I felt it was true. But I was like, I want to be a guitar player. But you tell your dad that, and I'd come here, he was, you know, a business guy, and I can remember him going, yeah, right. Originally, I never wanted to sing. I always wanted to be the silent guitar player, Keith Richards style, you know, don't sing, just be a guy in the band. And then I realized that after playing in somebody else's band, you were very much at the mercy of whoever you were working with. And after some rough goes of the people I was working with, I realized that if I could be in control of the situation and learn to sing and write my own music, that I wouldn't have to be at the mercy of anybody else. And that was really my impetus to do it. I just went, oh man, I'd like to work. I want to be in control of my own career. I don't want to be at somebody else's, you know, their whims. My first gig was a backyard party in Park City for some friends, and you know, I'd never sang, I'd never fronted the band, I had no idea. I've always been a closet guitar player. In fact, most of the people, my friends, didn't even know I played guitar because I was so shy as a kid, and I never, you know, I wasn't the guy to sit there and go, oh, here, listen to this or anything. I just played to myself, you know. I played in the house, and so it was interesting. And in fact, I was so nervous, and this is true. For probably 7 or 8 years, I'd get sick every night before I had to play because I was so nervous all the time, because it really wasn't in my personality, and it's really still not in my personality. I do it, and I've done it for years, and it's gotten easier, but some people, it's natural for them. You know, they like the attention, they like being the center of attention, and I've never been that way. So, but yeah, the first gig, house party, Park City, and it was fun. What was it like touring with the Dead? It was great. It was great. Tons of fun. I followed them for about 5 years, mostly West Coast shows. I ended up going to Europe and seeing the final. That was my final tour that I wanted to do with the Dead. In fact, I had an epiphany the last night, London, England, 1990, at the end of the Grateful Dead Europe tour. I just had a huge epiphany that I didn't want to see another band. I didn't want to follow them anymore. I didn't want to see them. And I wanted to play music, but I never really been in the band. I never, you know, so it was just one of those things where I just thought, oh, I'm tired of following these guys. I want to go do it. And it was really funny because I got back to Park City, and within a week, I was in a band. I just felt like the universe was watching over me and said, oh, here, you want to do that? Okay, here you go. So that's what I did. I feel like part of my musical journey that I find interesting was that it's so much of it is the right place and the right time. I started my band Fat Paw, and we were a ski town band, Park City band, and so we started branching out, and then we started touring all the ski towns, and so we'd go do tours, Aspen, Vale, Breckenridge, Crested Butte. We'd do that whole loop through the ski towns, and then we'd go up and do the Northwest Swing, where we do Jackson Hole, Grand Targhee, Big Sky, Montana, and then we go up to Seattle and Portland, and come down and do the ski resorts in Tahoe, San Francisco. We just started spinning loops. We'd go to the southern route, where we'd leave Park City, go down Bit and Spur, down in Zion, Las Vegas, Flagstaff, Tempe, Phoenix, those little things. So yeah, the touring was always great. It was fun. You got to be careful what you wish for sometimes, because when I first started, I thought, boy, if I could just make my living doing this. And, and I did, and I still do. So I'm super fortunate that way. But, I never had dreams of being a rock star. Once again, it was never in my personality. Everything came really easy, so I got really lucky, but I was never like, oh, I'm going to be a rock star. And, that was never the thing. I loved playing, and everything worked. The universe liked me. Everything just kept unfolding naturally. And that's how it's always been. And I've been really, really incredibly lucky. It's a trip when you're playing and you look out in a crowd and people know your music, especially when you've written it and it's your own music, and especially when you're in another state or even another country that you wouldn't realize that people even knew what you did. And then, I've played in England and people are singing along, and it's because the disc had made it there in advance and they knew your music, and next thing you know, and that's beautiful because it's the story of your life. So, yeah. I got to open up for Bob Weir for a small tour through Oregon, which was one of the guys from the Grateful Dead, which was really cool because I'd followed them for so long that it felt like I'd kind of made it. I was like, oh man, I get to, I get to do this. So, and just touring was always amazing. I love to travel. That's what I loved about Seeing the Dead, and that's what I love about this career is I've gotten to travel. I've played in Hong Kong, I've played in Italy, I've done several tours in Europe, I've done, England, Ireland, Wales, Scotland, yeah. So that's my favorite. That's what I'm most proud of, I think, is the fact that I was able to create a niche that I loved, a life that I love. Good question. What would I like to do that I haven't done yet? I still have records I'd like to make. I already have 4 out, and they've done pretty well. I've had music on Showtime, HBO, Discovery Channel, yeah. Any advice I would give to young musicians is work hard. Talent will only get you so far, and I've seen a lot of talented, really talented people. I've come across people all the time more talented than I am. But you got to have a good work ethic, and you got to really want it, and you got to endure so much to do it all the time. It's not an easy life, and you just have to keep doing it. What I would, just keep working hard, because that's what it's all about. If you don't work hard at it, doesn't matter how talented you are, and you have to have a good work ethic. You got to show up on time, do your job, be sober. You don't come in and get drunk at your shows. You have to be professional, and it doesn't mean being uptight or anything like that. It means respecting the opportunity that you've been given, because it's an incredible opportunity, and a lot of people don't realize how special it is to have that given to you, and if you don't respect it, it goes away. My happy place is right here. I live by the sea. I've got a house full of guitars and a great, simple, beautiful life that I couldn't be more happy with.